call, please.
Roll call, Jimmy Gonzalez,
Yes.
Steve Babbitt.
Here.
And Carol, Sue Carroll. Here.
Okay. First order of business, approval of the minutes from the previous meeting held June 4th, 2019. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, Amy Robinson, Westland Pop Warner, request annual use of Barry Park for youth sports August 1st to November 30th, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Is there any representative here from that? No? Hold up a little bit on that. Number 2, Duke Wilson, Eastland Pop Warner, request annual use of Keeney Park for youth sports, August 1st to November 30th, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Anybody here from, how you doing?
Good,
What's going on? Well, a couple of things. Here comes Lisa now, she knows everything.
No, but she's a fine gal, that's for
Paul's
sure.
taking care of what you just
I
took
was
care of.
teasing you because they love you.
Okay, Jeffrey, please.
I was
Jeffrey?
saying.
Jeffrey, please,
Paul's taking
no
care of
talking,
that same person.
just sit there and watch.
I will.
He just will go
I just
straight.
want to make sure she knows
The guy
I'm
that you
raising
helped
her.
out.
Yeah.
Paul's
Right.
with him now.
Which I know you are.
Oh, well. Lisa, want to give us a little insight on Eastland Pop Warner, what's, what we're waiting for, what's going on?
I do.
How you doing?
So, we're just waiting to hear from Keeney, from ISD in regards to the Keeney Park Clubhouse, the status. If the building is going to be able to be used come August.
Okay, so there's still work has to be
They're
done
still
there?
working on it, yes.
Now, what's the story on the electricity over there now?
Electricity still falls under Eastland Pop Warner, but the city is looking into maybe taking over all the city, any organizations right now that's responsible for the lights, the city is looking into taking them over. That's being worked out with the law office and the
Okay.
mayor's office.
So there's no problem with electricity being shut off or any of that type of stuff now?
As far as right now, I don't think any electricity
Okay,
shut
Duke,
off.
the electricity hasn't been a problem?
No, the lights at Keeney are shut off now. And they're shut off because, we let them get shut off because the 3 people that were using us, softball and flag, the only one who hasn't paid for the last 2 years has been Lynn English. And I had told Lisa, a few times, there's keys floating around. So we, you go there, there's been times that I had to get up out of my bed, people like, oh, the lights are on, you go down there and there's, people who are not sanctioned or authorized to be down there sometimes using the lights.
Okay.
So that's why at this point in time, they ain't been on. I was waiting for this meeting so we could then, figure out what's going on, then we could turn them back on.
Okay, so it's not a matter of, National Grid didn't shut them off, it's a matter
No,
of...
they came down
Okay.
and shut them off. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, they shut them off?
Yeah, that way, because whoever has a key to the box could just turn them on.
Oh.
And there's a few keys out there floating around.
So Lisa, what do we need to do to,
We're gonna have to change the locks down at Keeney Park.
Commissioner Amaral, welcome.
Hello there. Sorry, I had to pick up the pieces after you.
Oh. Okay, is there anything else we need? We all set? We need lists or?
Jimmy, you wanted to speak on that?
My understanding is Lynn English High School is a high school, and Lynn Public Schools has no intention of paying for these lights. The deal was that the 3 non-city of Lynn tenants were going to be paying for the lights.
Well, that's not my understanding. My understanding, even from talking to the coach, and he was like, yeah, we should be giving you guys something. And I don't understand why the city would think a nonprofit organization should be paying for the high school coming to use the field. Now, in years past, when they're down there and we're down there, and they, we'll move out their way and they usually practice or whatever, and that hasn't been a problem. But there's times that, they've used the lights and gone inside, and you come down and the field is empty. And, and it's just like anything, if we're, how we raise our funds, we gotta get out there and fundraise or whatever the case may be, I don't see how it's fair that they, they don't have to contribute at all.
It's similar to meeting field as far as electricity for English and classical and tech. The only other option, that from a law department standpoint, is we'd have to charge each of you an annual fee that would include maintenance for emptying the trash barrels and for the use of the lights. right now, there's no money budgeted for that. So there would have to be some type of fee determined for the Park Commission to charge each of the groups that need to use the field and need the lights on to do that.
So you're saying that you guys would charge us?
We would have to, because the taxpayers are paying for these lights for select groups of nonprofit youth groups.
Paying for the lights where?
Some of the parks, is that right, Lisa? There's some parks that we do pay for?
Yep, Fry Park is one, yep.
Yeah, but they're not paying for our field, so I don't understand. I mean, I have no problem, we all chip in, but I don't understand why, if they're gonna use the lights, why they don't have to chip in. I'm just trying to understand that. That's been, because they're using, so I'm trying to understand that. So you're trying to tell me they get because they're the high school, they get it free?
Correct, and we also do not charge for the use of Manning Bowl for these fields for Lynn Public Schools.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that in the field, We have to kind of pay for them.
The options are you can practice during the day and not need the lights.
That's-
Or if you need the lights, the city will have to be reimbursed in some way, and some type of fair, equitable payment arrangement needs to be undertaken. We had a problem with the East Lynn Little League field where the group did not pay and the lights were shut off. The taxpayers paid the outstanding bill, which was several $1,000s, in order for the lights to be put back on.
Correct. Well, we don't have a problem. We can pay to put the lights back on. My problem is just that we're paying for them and everybody's not kicking in the sheer fear. So I don't understand why it goes from that to now all of a sudden we're gonna be charged for trash barrels and stuff like that. I mean, East Lynn's been over there 100 years, so I don't know. It's never been a problem before. So I don't understand. I really don't.
Well, East Lynn pays their own bill over there, so, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to resolve this tonight, so obviously we'll have to get together and have a conversation. Jim, is there any update on, I know the mayor had talked about taking over the lights and the management of it. Has anything happened in that venue?
I don't believe a final decision has been made. We're
Okay.
looking at some other cities and towns who have field use charges, in some cases which waived for Lynn groups and the like.
Yep.
But unless money's budgeted to whether it's in DPW or inspectional services, there's no pot of money to pay these bills.
Right.
And that'll have to be a decision from a budgetary standpoint made by the CFO and the mayor.
Okay. All right, so we're not going to resolve that tonight. So I guess what was in order is a vote to allow for the dates requested for practice. Is there a motion in that? Motion for that?
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Any further discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Susan Archer, Family and Children's Services, Greater Lynn, requests to use the Common for its annual Family Fun Day, Wednesday, September 18th, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. with a rain date of 9/25. Anybody here from that? Is that an annual
We
event?
don't have an issue with them. They
Okay.
clean up and do their things.
Motion to approve
I'll
that?
make a,
Okay, second.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Ramon Gutierrez, Celeste, how do you say that? Titanus? Titanus to Lynn softball request for Keeney Field for the annual softball tournament, August 17th, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Anybody here from that organization? That's an annual on that?
That's an annual event. We had it last year.
Okay, is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, Patrick Montague, Linwood's Boulder Bash, request to use Linwood Saturday, November 9th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. with a rate date of 11/10/19.
Let that be down by now.
I don't know, anybody here from that organization? How you doing? Can you tell us what's going on?
Yeah, we're requesting to use Lynn Woods for the second Boulder Bash. We did it last year as an outdoor rock climbing competition as a fundraiser for the Southeast New England Climbers Coalition.
And you've had conversation with the ranger, Dan Small?
Yes.
And he's on board with this, and
Yeah.
how'd it go last year?
It went well. I think it went well. From everything I heard, I was out in the woods picking up stuff. But yeah, it went well. We had a large turnout. I think ended up with around 55 competitors. We had more than that, and then it got rained out or snowed out. So we came back the next week and less people showed up. But
Okay.
yeah.
And Lisa, we need insurance for that, right? We've got,
Yes, yes.
okay, so you're aware of the insurance requirement?
Yeah, we'll be using the same insurance we got last year for it.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good luck. Kim Ruma, the Great House request for Gallagher Park for the annual Kicks for Kids Kickball fundraiser, August 25th, 9 AM, 3 PM. That's a,
It's an annual.
what's that?
That's their second, it'll be their second annual.
Okay, so there's no problems with that?
As long as they work out with Jill and.
Yeah, they moved it from Barry Park to Gallagher this year, and I emailed and provided Jill's contact information.
Jeff Newhall for St. Mary's football and soccer.
Okay, so that's not an issue in this location?
It shouldn't be, no.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Wendy Joseph, food truck request at an event for July 3rd, 2019. How are you?
I went to.
Doing great.
So, just an update from the information that you had, the second food truck just got into an accident and is not going to be able to join us. So, the other guy will have huge amounts of business. And I apologize, I did not know that this was a separate thing to bring before you. So, since the event is tomorrow, what do you need to know right now, or what can I tell you?
I think that, Jim, I
Go ahead, Jim.
I think we're all set with this, right? I mean, this is within our authority to grant this?
This is probably something long-term that the Park Commission would probably want to look into in depth, where food trucks belong, and there's certainly situations where a Little League may have a concession where they raise money by selling hot dogs and cups of coffee. So a food truck there would probably have a lot of opposition from the Little Leagues and some of the ward
Yeah.
councilors. But in this situation, for an event like this, I don't see any opposition, but certainly there'll be opposition that affected any youth sports fundraising abilities. If they had competition, like Lynn Youth Soccer would not want a food truck right out front when they.
Yeah, I mean, going forward, I think it's on a case-by-case basis. I don't think this commission would want to just give blanket approval for food trucks to go wherever they want in, on parkland, so.
And to complicate it a little bit further, per our city ordinance, it cannot be located on a city street.
Right.
Here in this situation, it would not be on a city street, it would be up on the parkland, and I'm understanding the police and fire want to have something in September for a family fun day. That also would not be on a public street. Magnolia might not work just because it may not be a place for, I
Yeah.
understand they have large soccer tournaments, and that may be something where food truck operators would love to
Yeah.
to operate, but unless the ordinance changes, or there could be found a location on parkland that where you could park, some parks just might not work.
Okay, so, but for this particular incident, we can vote to approve this for this event tomorrow with no problem? Okay. So you figured out where the truck is gonna be and,
Yes, I don't know if, oh yeah, so the placement was by Lieutenant Gonzalez of Fire Department, came down and decided which was the safest, and that was when restaurants were still lighting grills underneath a tent, so now it's much safer.
yes. So this is the spot here shown in this map?
Yes, and the reason why he did that was that he wanted a hard surface for people to be able to stand on. So
Okay.
it's kind of like a court situation. Everybody's coming in here, and then the power comes right off the event panel down that.
So this is the first time we've had a truck here, so.
No, it was there last year.
I was there last year, too, and in the same spot?
Yes, they've been in this spot for many, many years.
Okay, just leave the map there. Anybody have any questions on this? Okay, motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Okay,
Thank you so much.
good luck.
Good luck.
Dan Dulong, food truck request at an event September 14th, 2019.
That would be,
I'm actually his brother Ryan.
Okay.
He's working in Endon, so I said rather than bring it down, I'm right here anyways.
Okay,
So we're just looking to bring other aspects of what's going on in the community over to our end, so that we can introduce our guys and their families to it, and then on the food truck end, they can, meet our guys and our families, so.
and now, Ryan, where is this going to be? What?
Great.
Oh, Graywoods Road.
They had it last year.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board?
Nope.
Motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
okay, good luck.
Thanks.
Attorney Lamanna on the Gannon RFP. Jim, you want to give us an oversight on this thing? I know this has been a 30-year project, right?
Well, the third time may be the charm, so we're taking another crack at putting up the RFP for the starting on January 1st, 2020. As this commission knows, we had sent out an RFI. A few months back, we received 2 responses with some suggestions. Try to incorporate that. It's much less onerous. We're not requiring X number of mowers and Y number of rangers, not requiring 365 days a year, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So hopefully the goal here is to attract more bidders and get the best price for the city and the cost.
Did anybody have any questions as they look through this? I know Jim and I have talked a couple of times, so I've caught a lot of the things we needed to talk about. I think, and Jim, one other thing on the aggregate costs for irrigation, how do we determine if it's under or over the number that is in the RFP?
This bid, anything under $10,000 is responsibility of the successful management firm. Anything over $10,000 would be ours. We've taken a fairly hard line in the first 5.5 years of the contract that 50 sprinklers that break don't count together.
Right.
Break it up. There was some additions to this RFP where we're contemplating having a study done. So in place, so in case the irrigation system, God forbid, went, we would have the plans in place to go right out to bid, and we wouldn't have to use some of the money in the Gannon lockbox to spend that. I think if we spent wisely, that we would have detailed plans that bidders could look at and put a bid in if there was an irrigation failure.
Okay. Can you explain to the commission just a little bit about the revenue breakup, because there's this language in there about in lieu of taxes? It was the, what, 35% or I forget.
35% was the number that the new chief financial officer of whatever the money that comes in a successful bid, 35% of that will go into the general fund. The remainder will go into a separate revolving account used exclusively to Gannon. During the first 5-year lease, everything was put into, almost everything was put into the Gannon lockbox. There was an adverse union ruling at the JLMC where the former mayor was required to utilize some of the monies that were generally available for any purpose, but the will of the past mayor and this current mayor is that to the maximum extent possible to make sure that there's sufficient monies from the golf revenue in order to ensure that this course remains a gem for the city. So the breakup moving forward would be 65-35, with the majority of the money being earmarked for the course, and hopefully with that, with some plans being done sooner rather than later on what would need to be done for an irrigation system.
Yep.
And we've had detailed discussions with the CFO. If in fact the irrigation system ever went, even in this difficult financial time, it would not be very difficult for us to bond for, if it was $2-3 million, spread that out for 20 years, and it would not be a budget buster in any way. So it should not be a concern for any bidder that the city would be unable to have these the irrigation system repaired relatively quickly, and it won't be a situation where we'll be needing years to raise money in order to do it. There is a plan in place, and it would not be a budget buster.
So you think it would be wise for this commission sooner rather than later to authorize some payment to do the study and come up with a plan, for a design for it anyway?
To minimize any delays in the event of an irrigation failure, or even a partial irrigation failure, these documents would be needed in order for, in all likelihood, Mike Donovan to put the, or it could be Andy Hall, either the ISD or DPW to put out an RFP seeking bidders to come in and replace any section of the irrigation system that needs to be repaired. This RFP does prefer a flat rate percentage, but listening to some of the RFI responses, we are telling any possible bidders that they can be creative, whether that's revenue sharing, whether other type of financial arrangements, and it would be ultimately up to this commission to evaluate any different financial arrangement between the city and the successful management company. But the clear preference is a flat rate.
Yeah, so what we've done in the past, it's always been a flat rate. But if somebody wanted to, if they were concerned about revenue, they could say, we'll give you this number, and then from this point on, we'll do revenue sharing of whatever revenue we take in. So it could be one or the other, or a combination of both.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think I had one other question, but can't think of it now with all
I
my
am
notes.
critical of my first RFP 5 years ago. I thought I focused too much on the food service. That may have been a problem. This RFP is much more focused on the golf aspect with a more minor component on the food. We don't get into the weeds on what time you need to open. The market will dictate that. If it doesn't work to stay open until 10 o'clock on a Monday night in December, that just seems to be wasting money for the management firm, and in turn, they're going to alter their bid. We do not get into the menu and the quality of grade A or grade B beef, as long as you're complying with Lisa Tobin and the sanitary department. We're certainly not going to micromanage. And that's the same way, again, on the golf side. There was language in there how high the greens had to be and how high the fairways had to be. In actuality, nobody was going out there and measuring. This is much more standard that you need to follow the United States Golf Association course maintenance standards. And so long as you're following some pretty solid, stringent requirements, the city is going to let the management company run the course. And I don't foresee any issues. So we had a list of about 50 or 60 pieces of equipment in that last bid, and I'm sure there have been technology advances that you could do with probably with a lot less equipment, bigger equipment, better equipment. So we're not getting into that type of detail in this RFP.
Okay, so what is the timeline we're looking at now?
If this board approves this RFP, it would be submitted to the Central Register, advertised a week from tomorrow. There'd be a pre-bid conference sometime later in July, I think July 26th or 19th. And the bids due would be August 16th with a goal of awarding the bid in September, and that would be sufficient time for a management firm to mobilize whatever they needed to do in order to operate the course. But late August, early September, August 16th, you'll have the RFP responses.
Okay.
So an eye toward an award soon thereafter.
Well, that's all my questions. Anybody else have
Just a
anything?
quick question. How far beyond the life expectancy is the irrigation? If there was one.
That's probably defer to Steve Murphy, who probably knows this course better than anybody.
Well, it won't be a total failure. It's just a constant nagging breaks that, wear you down or wear the contractor down. So it won't be a total shutdown loss. The pump is good, the supply is good, so basically you could get by and then, do it at a fall project. It won't be a catastrophic thing where you shut down July 1st or something. That answers the question.
And then just a secondary question, in terms of other major capital improvements, should this commission, or should it be focused on anything else besides irrigation?
I would say the irrigation, we're set to go out to bid on phase 2, but I would think your next phase should be the irrigation system. That's a 1963, they usually say 25 years, so it's certainly exceeded its lifetime. Gene Dooley did a good job when they put it in, and it's all done.
So has there been any major, or from an engineering point at the golf course, that if a bidder wanted to see, does anything like that live anywhere?
Yeah,
It's been done?
we created that master plan, which has all of that in there. We prioritized building requirements thing. We identified deficiencies in the building, boilers, AC, everything was looked at and was prioritized, and that's where we've been following also the plan for improvements to the course based on that study too. So all of that stuff is documented in there. So, we've got a plan. It isn't just, this is what we think we'll do today. So Lisa, probably for our next meeting, we should put it on the agenda for, about the design, improve the money for the design. Probably get an idea of what it would cost. We can ask Andy.
Andy did indicate that he believes that there is a irrigation plan and quote in the Mungem book.
Okay.
And he was digging through that when we left
Okay.
yesterday.
He's done pieces on the electrical side. What you should do is, like Jim had said, you want to get a plan, a full design of irrigation system for full design, so you are ready to go out to bid and get some, guy could give you, what it's going to cost, pretty much.
So they have addressed the irrigation needs on the holes where they have done work?
Correct.
So they put in new material in the ground?
Right, so it's set up, that stuff that they put in is set up to go along with the new irrigation system.
Okay, but it's not functional, it's just, it's,
Oh, yeah, we can use it manually, it's just not set up automatically.
okay, all right.
There's a lot of good stuff out there. You would want to go a nice double row system. Right now, you have a single row system that we've added on the sides. So, you know, it could be nice, but it's, the rock claws there, I would hate to, it's going to be a tough job.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments about the RFP? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to move forward with it.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Murphy, you're up. What's going on? The weather's improving a little bit for you?
Yeah, the weather's been getting better. We're getting more into summer weather. When the weather is good, we've been very busy. Tough to lose half a day like Father's Day, which would typically be the busiest day of the year. You know, things are going well, of course, in great shape. So, you know, looking forward to the rest of the season.
Good, so
The
this,
irrigation system won't be a catastrophic shutdown.
Right.
It'll just be a lot of
yeah,
nixing.
a pain in the neck.
Beating you up,
Yep. That's it?
Want me to go into detail?
No, we don't want you to go into detail.
Now, the specs, I understand what he's saying with the specs, but we've always exceeded the specs. So we've raised the bar, so I would think that the membership is going to tell the successful bidder whether he was meeting the expectations
Okay.
of the membership. I don't think you have to worry about that.
Okay,
I think they're pretty vocal groups.
all righty. Okay, Steve, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
And we have Amy Robinson here. Amy, how are you? So what's,
Younger ones to help with.
yeah. So at least we're all set, there's no nothing going on
We don't
down.
have a- Amy, we don't have an issue with it.
Everybody's happy? Okay, this is item number 1 on our agenda. Is there a motion to
I'll make a
approve?
motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Nothing else come before the commission? Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Thank you.